So to celebrate His Holiness's birthday, we'll be just doing this short practice called the Source of All Attainments, the yoga of the inseparability of the Guru and Avalokiteshvara. So Avalokiteshvara is the Sanskrit term for Chenrezig, the Buddha of compassion, although we won't be doing 1,000-armed aspect, we'll be doing the 4-armed aspect, which is this statue down below here. So to begin, just those of you who've had contact with His Holiness the Dalai Lama, bring to mind strongly your experiences, your interactions with him. For example, I can bring to mind the fact that he ordained me as a nun 34 years ago. And I also received many initiations and many teachings from His Holiness. So some of you may have just encountered him on sort of news on the TV, or you may have seen things on YouTube, his teachings. And many of you will know that he received the Nobel Peace Prize in, I think, 1989. And he's spent his whole life basically promoting non-violence. So this is a practice that he composed when he was 19 years old, and he was still in Tibet before he escaped into exile. And I think it was at the repeated prompting of one of his lay students who asked him to compose it. So for those of you who aren't familiar with Buddhist terms or Buddhist practice, just bear with us. We'll do some of it in Tibetan and some in English. And we'll be starting on page 6 with taking refuge in generating bodhicitta. So we'll repeat this verse 2 times in English and then once in Tibetan. So generate a positive motivation for doing the practice. So you can think that appreciating His Holiness as a spiritual being, as a leader of Tibetan Buddhism, that you're doing this practice dedicated to his good health and long life and his continued teaching of the Dharma. I take refuge until I'm enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By accumulations of generosity and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit living beings. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By my accumulations of generosity and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit living beings. Sangye charan soge chonam la janchu badu dagni kapsu chi dagi jin sogi pe sonam ki drola penche sangye drupa sho. So next is meditating on the 4 immeasurables. So we'll pause between each one to contemplate its meaning. May all sentient beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. So here, when you think about happiness, don't just think of temporary, immediate happiness, but particularly of ultimate happiness, of liberation from samsara and full enlightenment. And when you think about the causes of happiness, then think about positive thoughts and actions. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. So here again, don't just confine your thinking to ordinary suffering, the suffering of pain, which we're all well aware of. But if you have the understanding of the more subtle levels of suffering, the suffering of change and pervasive compounding suffering, then generate a strong wish for all sentient beings to be free of all those levels of suffering, and from the causes of their suffering, their negative karma and delusions. May all sentient beings never be separated from the happiness that knows no suffering. So here again, when you're thinking about happiness that knows no suffering, you're thinking about ultimate happiness, the ultimate happiness of liberation from samsara, and the peerless happiness of full enlightenment. May all sentient beings abide in equanimity, free of attachment and hatred for those held close and distant. And here we're trying to generate the immeasurable thought of equanimity, because if we have a partial mind, if we have a biased mind that cares only about our friends and not about people we regard as enemies or strangers, then there's no way to fully develop our mind. So you try to have a impartial mind, a mind that cares about all beings, whether they've helped you or harmed you. So now purifying the place, we'll recite it once in English and then once in Tibetan. Everywhere may the ground be pure, free of pebbles and so forth, as level as the palm of the hand, in the nature of Vaidurya and soft. Tamche duni sashi dag, segma laso mi padang, laktil tanam bedu ye, rangshin jampo negyu chi. Now blessing and multiplying, presenting the offerings. So again, we'll do it once in English and then once in Tibetan. May divine and human offerings, both actually arranged and mentally emanated, become clouds of the finest Samantabhadra offerings, filling the entire realm of space. Ladang mi chepeze nesu shamdang yiki tru kunsang chutrin lana me namke kamkun kyab gyuchi. So now to multiply the offerings, we recite this mantra 3 times. So for those of you who aren't familiar with it, just do the best you can with it. And so as you recite the mantra, you visualize the whole of space filled with offerings to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Om Namo Bhagavate Vajrayana Pramadana Tathagata Ahati Samsam Buddha Kayata Om Vajra Vajra Mahavajra Mahati Vajra Mahati Vajra Mahabodhi Sita Vajra Mahabodhi Nandaka Sankamana Vajra Sawakama Avarana Visidam Vajra Om Namo Bhagavate Vajrayana Pramadana Tathagata Ahati Samsam Buddha Kayata Om Vajra Vajra Mahavajra By the power of truth of the 3 jewels, the blessings of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, the great wealth of the completed 2 accumulations, and the force of the pure and inconceivable Dhammadhatu, may these offerings become suchness. So now the visualization. In the spacious expanse of the spontaneous great bliss Dhammakaya, at the center of heaps of clouds of various Samantabhadra offerings, is a throne of radiant jewels supported by lions, on which is the seat of a lotus, sun, and full moon. On this is the supreme Arya Lokeshwara, great treasury of compassion, manifesting in the form of a saffron-robed monk, my root guru, the Vajra holder, possessing the 3 kindnesses, the glorious Jetsun Losang Tenzin Gyatso. With a radiant pink complexion, pleased and smiling, your right hand is at the heart in the mudra of expounding the Dharma and holds a white lotus marked by a volume of scripture and a sword, while your left hand is in the mudra of meditative equipoise and holds a 1,000-spoke wheel. You elegantly wear the 3 Dharma robes of lustrous saffron and a pandit's hat, the color of refined gold. Your aggregates, constituents, sense spheres, and their objects, as well as your limbs, are in nature the complete mandala circle of the fathers and mothers of the 5 families, the male and female bodhisattvas and the wrathful protectors. At the center of a sphere of assembled garlands of 5-colored lights, your 2 legs are in the indestructible Vajra posture, and you send forth heaps of clouds of magical nets for the sake of those to be subdued. At your heart is the exalted wisdom being Avalokiteshvara, with 1 face and 4 arms, 1 pair with the palms joined together, and the lower pair holding a crystal mala and white lotus. He is beautifully adorned with precious ornaments and silken robes. His left breast is covered with the skin of an antelope. and he is in the fullness of youth, sitting cross-legged on a lotus and moon. At his heart is the concentration being, the radiant white letter Hri, from which light rays radiate to the 10 directions. My guru's 3 places are marked with 3 vajras. Light rays radiate from the letter Hung at his heart and invite all the countless forms of the 3 jewels, identified with my guru, who comes in nature, the embodiment of all life. So just spend a little time clarifying this visualization. So it's what's called a 3-stacked being or triple-stacked being. So the outer form is that of His Holiness the Dalai Lama, an aspect of a monk, as he's depicted on the throne there. At his heart is 4-armed Chenrezig, as described. At the heart of Chenrezig is the seed syllable Hri. So if you're not familiar with this kind of visualization, then you can simply think that there's a figure of radiant white light that represents universal compassion, the compassion of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. So now we continue with the 7-limb prayer, the first limb of which is prostrating. Your body, beautified by the radiant and complete marks and signs, liberates on sight. Your unceasing speech possesses the melody of the 60 harmonious sounds, and your mind of vast and profound wisdom and compassion is difficult to fathom. To this ornamental wheel of your 3 secrets, I respectfully prostrate. Owned and unowned offering substances, actually arranged and mentally emanated, my body and enjoyments and all the collections of thoroughly pure virtue that I have accumulated in the 3 times, I offer to you, imagining them as an ocean of clouds of Samanabhadra offerings. Because of my mind being suppressed by the veiling darkness of ignorance, I have committed negative actions and downfalls, both natural and prescribed misdeeds. Whatever faults of wandering astray that I have committed, I confess in a state of non-referentiality with strong regret, and a firm vow to refrain from them in the future. In the heaps of the thoroughly pure virtue accumulated in the 3 times, by the complete liberation of the glorious gurus, by ordinary beings and aryas of the 3 vehicles, and by myself and all others, I sincerely rejoice from my heart. So here we'll pause to meditate on rejoicing, which is one of the easiest ways to collect positive energy. So just spend some time meditating, thinking of your own positive thoughts and actions of the 3 times, including your participation in this practice. Also think of the positive thoughts and actions of other ordinary beings. And in particular, at the moment, you can think of the frontline workers, millions of people around the world who are enduring physical and mental hardships during this pandemic to help out of compassion and dedication to help others who are experiencing COVID-19. Think about the ordinary acts of kindness that happen every day. Then think about the exceptional spiritual beings, the bodhisattvas, with whatever understanding you have of their qualities and activities, those of the Buddhas and those of our gurus. Thinking today on his 86th birthday in particular, of the qualities and activities of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. So just spend some time feeling happiness from your heart, rejoicing in all the positive things of yourself and of others. So now the limb of requesting. By playing the profound and peaceful melody of the divine music of sacred Dharma, appropriate to the disposition of the different beings to be subdued, I request that you awaken all sentient beings from the sleep of the obstructions to omniscience and the afflictive obstructions, until all living beings have attained the breath of blissful release, of the realization of being free from the extremes of psychic existence and peace. With your 2 legs in the indestructible Evam cross-legged posture, please remain firmly on the Vajra throne forever. Having accomplished the prayers of the supreme actions of Samadabhadra, I dedicate all the thoroughly pure virtuous actions that I have done, am doing, or will do, so that I may be inseparably protected by my venerable Guru and attain complete enlightenment for the sake of all living beings. Another mandala offering. O Sashi Paki Joshing Me Tong Tram Ri Ram Ling Shi Ni De Kien Pa Di Sange Shindu Mikte Olwai Drokun Nam Dai Shila Chepasho. This ground anointed with perfume, strewn with flowers, adorned with Mount Meru, the four continents, the sun and the moon. I imagine as a Buddha land and offer it. May all living beings enjoy this pure land. The body, speech, and mind of myself and others, as well as our wealth and collections of virtue of the three times, an excellent and precious mandala together with a massive Samadabhadra offerings. I visualize and offer it to the Guru, Yidam, and the three jewels. Through the force of your compassion, please accept them and grant me blessings. Idam Guru Ratna Mandala Kanayatayami. Next is the blessing by the Guru. From the silver Hri at the heart of my venerable Guru, nectars and light rays of the five colors descend, enter through my crown and purify all negativities and obstructions. All supreme and common attainments are attained without exception. So here we recite what's called the name mantra of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. So you could, what's described in that verse above, you can do that visualization as recite the mantra. We'll recite it 3 times together and then recite it for a mala, but just see how you go. Om A Guru Vajradhara Bhattarakam Shri Vagindra Sumati Jana Shasana Dara Samudra Shri Bhadra Savasiti Hum Hum. Om A Guru Vajradhara Bhattarakam Shri Vagindra Sumati Jana Shasana Dara Samudra Shri Bhadra Savasiti Hum Hum. Om A Guru Vajradhara Bhattarakam Shri Vagindra Sumati Jana Shasana Dara Samudra Shri Bhadra Savasiti Hum Hum. Om Guru Vajradhara. Shri Bhadra Siddhi Hum Hum. Next, we recite the prayer of the graduated path, which outlines the path to enlightenment. So we'll pause briefly after each verse to contemplate its meaning. My kind Lord and guide on the unerring path, you are the basis for all temporary and long-term happiness. Having found certainty that you are a mass of countless refuges, please bless me to devote myself to you through pure thoughts and actions. So this is meditating on Guru devotion. This human life of leisure and fortune cannot be produced by even tens of millions of supremely precious jewels. Once obtained, it is transitory, and when it is lost, it is uncertain. Please bless me to never be distracted by the activities and appearances of this life, and to spend my time practicing the sacred Dharma. So here we're meditating on perfect human rebirth, death and impermanence, and the faults or shortcomings of samsaric existence. The supreme protection from the terrors of the lower rebirths that are so difficult to bear is holding strongly onto the ultimate refuge of the three jewels. Thus, by bringing to mind the causes and effects of positive and negative actions, please bless me with the strength to abandon negative actions and accomplish virtuous deeds. So here we're meditating on the sufferings of the lower realms, on the refuge, the protection offered by the three jewels, and on karma, cause and effect. Having seen that all the wonders of Ishvara are deceptive, just like the seductions of the Rakshasi, and propelled by fierce renunciation, please bless me to practice the three trainings. So this again is seeing the faults of psychic existence and developing renunciation, the wish to be free from suffering, from samsaric existence. And to do this, we practice the three trainings of morality, concentration, and wisdom. Having considered that mother living beings who have kindly cared for me since beginningless time are suffering through the troubles of psychic existence and peace, please bless me to generate the supreme mind of enlightenment and train in an ocean of bodhisattva activities. So this verse is concentrating on bodhicitta, which is developed on the basis of equanimity, great loving kindness and great compassion. So here on the basis of these meditations, we generate the precious thought of bodhicitta, the wish to bring all sentient beings, all suffering beings to enlightenment by first becoming enlightened ourselves. Please bless me to generate in my mind the yoga uniting calm abiding and special insight, beautified by non-cessation, 100,000 marvels of primordial emptiness, free from extremes, reflected on the face of the mirror of my very clear and unwavering meditative equipoise. So here we're meditating on developing calm abiding, perfect meditation, and then on the basis of that, developing special insight and special wisdom, especially the wisdom understanding emptiness. So if you're not familiar with teachings on emptiness, then the simplest way to meditate here is just realizing that things don't exist in the way they appear to you, that everything that appears to you, including the way you see yourself, is like things in a dream. So meditating with whatever understanding you have of emptiness. Having entered the gate of very profound mantra through the kindness of my virtuous friend, the qualified Vajra holder, please bless me with the strength to guard properly my vows and commitments, the roots of attainments. So with this verse, we're meditating on Tantra. Having completely cut the flow of the all-creating karmic wind with the sharp sword of the exalted wisdom of non-dual bliss and emptiness, please bless me to realize in this very life the Mahamudra of great bliss, the union of body and mind. So here again, meditating on Tantra and meditating on reaching the supreme realization of enlightenment, the Mahamudra of great bliss. So now, having done the glance meditation on the complete path to enlightenment, and over the page we do the absorption followed by recitations of Om Mani Padme Hum, the mantra of Chenrezig. Having been thus requested, my Supreme Guru joyfully approaches, descends through my Brahma aperture, and dissolves in the indestructible drop at the center of my 8-petaled heart. Again, he rises in the form of my Guru on a lotus and moon. At the heart of the triple stack being, visualized as before, is a Hri encircled by the 6-syllable mantra garland. A stream of nectar descends from them, cleansing away all illnesses, spirits, negativities, and obstructions, and increasing all good qualities of scripture and realization. All the blessings of the victorious ones and their children are received. Again, light radiates, cleansing away the faults of the environment and its inhabitants. I rest in the supreme yoga in which appearances, sounds, and thoughts are held in the Arya's 3 secrets. Now doing the mantra recitation, we'll recite together Om Mani Padme Hum 21 times, and after that, just recite quietly to yourself, and we'll do 10 rounds or so. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme, Om Mani Padme, Om Mani Padme. So as you recite the manas, you can visualize healing white light rays coming from His Holiness with Chenrezig in his heart and a Hri at Chenrezig's heart, purifying you as well as all the living beings visualized around you of everything negative, and thinking not just of the suffering that you experience, the mental and physical hardships, but of the cause of those sufferings, negative karma and delusions, purifying you of all those. And then after that, you can visualize white light, yellow light rays coming from the heart of His Holiness and the heart of Chenrezig, and bringing you every good thing. And again, not just thinking of the temporary good things of this life, such as wealth and health, but thinking of spiritual realizations in particular, of achieving the ultimate happiness of liberation from samsara and enlightenment. So think that these things happen not just for you, but for all living beings that you visualized around you. Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 So now reciting the 100-syllable mantra one time to purify mistakes made during the recitation. So now the dedication. Through the splendor of 100,000 full moons of excellent deeds such as this, may the smiling blossoms of teaching and practice in the Kunda garden of the Dharma tradition of the victorious one, the treasury of wisdom, beautify the whole world until the end of psychic existence by making everything auspicious. May the great jewel victory banner of Gundam's governance, resplendent with tens of millions of perfect virtues and excellences, never be lowered but be raised high over the three worlds, satisfying hundreds of thousands of desires for benefit and happiness. Having cast by the darkness of the degenerations of the times that is spread across the vast expanse of the beautiful earth, with the great propitious signs of the increasing splendor of happiness, may sentient beings free of care become self-assured. In brief, by the force of being inseparably and joyfully cared for by you, Protector, throughout all my lives, may I easily and quickly arrive in the Lord of all's great capital of union. So then just concluding with the final auspicious prayer verse. Through the force of the marvelous compassion of victorious ones and their children, may all masses of discord and difficulty be pacified at all times in all directions. May the excellent virtues of psychic existence and peace spread and increase like the waxing moon. May So that concludes the practice. Thank you very much for joining me and enjoy the rest of your day.